Okay, I apologize. We're a little bit late here, but we'll go ahead and get started. We are recording this event, so you can always go back to it later, either on the Elderworks Facebook page or our YouTube page. And just a little bit about Elderworks before we start. We are a not-for-profit 501c3, and our mission is to provide seniors and their families with information, referrals, and guidance so that they can make the right decision for them. And the guidance that we provide either helps seniors stay at home well, or we help them transition successfully into different senior living opportunities. And we have our Aging Better Expo coming up on August 31st in Hoffman Estates. That's a day of education, and then we also have resource booths. You'll be able to meet with people there. And you can check out more details on our website, elderworks.org. And it's under news and events if you want to check out the education sessions and what sponsors and different booths will be there. So today we have Skip Gonsoulin with the Attorney General's office here with us, and he will be speaking about consumer fraud and identity theft. Okay, take it away, Skip.
All right, well, good morning. Thank you, Emily, appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for you all showing your interest in the Office of the Attorney General. As Emily said, my name is Skip Gonsoulin. I'm a senior community outreach liaison. My teammate, Kirsten Holmes, she's working our slides and handling all the technology. We are absolutely pleased to be able to present Attorney General Kwame Raoul and the services of our offices to the seniors that are on. We have included our emails in case you would like to contact either of us later. We're delighted that we have this opportunity, that Elderworks has given us this opportunity to present to you. So we do appreciate that on behalf of the Attorney General as well. All right. Just a few things, housekeeping, as we all get used to meeting virtually for this, and I'm sure everybody's probably pretty experienced. All the participants are set to mute. However, you will have an opportunity to be interactive. You, of course, can use the chat feature to ask or answer questions. The chat panel will pop up if you hover your mouse over or near the bottom of the screen, or select it from the menu bar at the top right hand of the screen. Also, the video is one way, so you'll see me and my screen, but we won't see your video. All right, so the agenda. Today, basically, we want to be sure that we touch on consumer fraud, which is our biggest bureau in the office, and identity theft. I'm going to provide an overview of the Office of the Attorney General. Not everyone understands the role of the Attorney General. Many people are surprised by all that we do. And there may even be some confusion about the things that our office does not have the power to do according to the statute that created our office. We will talk about what the office is doing to keep Illinois communities safe from crime. Then we'll go into describing common scams that often target seniors and how to avoid them. And in the event that you do fall prey, we'll go over all the ways that Illinois residents can reach out for help if you need it, and what to expect when you contact the office. We will also have time to answer questions. I will confess I'm not an attorney, and even if I were, I wouldn't be allowed to give specific legal advice. But what I can do is share experiences and information and point you to the experts who are really, they're ready to serve. So now we'll go through an overview of the Office of the Attorney General. All right, so this is a photograph of the Attorney General, Kwame Raoul. He was sworn in on January 14, 2019. He was a senator, a state senator for 14 years previous to this position. In the Senate, he passed laws on criminal justice, financial oversight, and healthcare services. So he brings that experience to his role as the Attorney General. Now, this is a constitutional office, one of only 6. The Attorney General is the chief legal officer for this, or basically the lawyer for the state, okay? And the Attorney General protects the public interest of all Illinois residents. So you can think of it in 3 major areas of responsibility. One, to advocate on behalf of the Illinois consumers and residents. Two, to litigate, which means to take necessary legal action. And three, to represent the state in litigation and to work with the elected officials as they legislate to create new laws and rules. We cover the state with main offices in Springfield and Chicago. Now we also have 6 regional offices and of course now things are starting to open up. So COVID is still with us, okay? So we're still working remotely from home. We've got a hybrid schedule and we would prefer if people do that, but our office is open if people need to come in. So our offices are open. Now, you can also get help through one of the several hotlines that we have for the public that's based on the type of resource you need or the problem that you may be having. The addresses and phone numbers are on that. You can get from our website, okay, or you can download them, or we can email them to you if necessary. And a link to our outreach page on the website is also going to be in the chat, and it'll definitely be in the later on in the screen. And as you can see on the screen, that is our web address right there. Now, our website is also a source of information for all our services. Plus, you can submit online complaint forms for many situations. We also have all of our brochures and publications available to download. Now, lastly, there are 9 more people like me on the team of community outreach liaisons who can do presentations, staff resource fairs, and meet with the public. Now, you can think of the Office of the Attorney General as a large legal office. We have more than 750 attorneys, investigators, advocates, and other personnel. The office is organized in what we call divisions that focus on different types of law or service areas. Some that the public is most likely to encounter are listed here, and we'll go into a bit more detail later. In general terms, the office focuses heavily on consumer protection, okay? We also have attorneys dedicated to protecting civil rights, and there are also the rights of military service members and veterans, individuals with disabilities, plus special communities such as children, women, and of course our older citizens. Now we have services for those who have been the victim of a crime that can help them respond to and rebuild from that very traumatic impact. Our office requires all charities and some nonprofits to register and comply with financial reporting rules. Now we promote open and honest government through upholding rules that allow the public to participate in open meetings and to access information that is part of the public record. We help ensure that consumers know their rights regarding student lending, mortgages, and other financial dealings. Now, this includes public utilities like your electricity and gas providers. Most criminal matters in Illinois are handled by state's attorney offices at the county. That is why sometimes people confuse us. However, there are some specific crimes that are within our statute that allows us to make charges and go to trial. All right, so now let's look next at what brings people to us. While the Attorney General's office is often in the spotlight for the work we do to protect consumers, we also have a role in keeping communities safe from crime. We protect children online and investigate threats and convict online predators. Now, we recently launched a new website where parents and educators can get more preventive tips, and that is at onlinesmart.com. Now, Attorney General Raoul last year launched the Organized Retail Crime Task Force to go after the criminal networks behind smash and grabs and other large-scale retail thefts. Our office is often called on to work with municipalities on violent crimes, excuse me, and to share our resources and our expertise. Now, we also partner with the U.S. Secret Service and Homeland Security to prevent mass shootings by training educators, faith leaders, and community organizations to spot warning signs and report potential threats. In response to the uptick in hate crimes and bias-based violence, we distributed fact sheets in 12 languages, and we now have the authority to investigate individual instances of potential hate crimes. Our office also recently was granted authority to investigate police departments where there may be patterns of unconstitutional police practices. Lastly, we have devoted more resources to help victims of violent crime and funds to offset the impact of that traumatic experience. Next, we can move into the areas of consumer protection that impact residents across the state. The Consumer Protection Division covers the majority of the work that we do directly with the public. We keep a record of all the complaints that individuals make each year and compile a list of the top 10. In 2021, the office received a total of 14,146 written complaints, in addition to tens of thousands of phone calls. After a surge of complaints related to COVID-19 in 2020, last year was a more typical year where home repair fraud came back to the top of the list. Complaints related to consumer debt came in second. Now, this includes complaints related to mortgages, banks, and financial institutions and collection agencies. Complaints about used car sales broke into the top 3 in 2021. COVID scams are still in the mix, and others are also listed here. Now, this list is important because it lets our attorneys not only respond to issues, but also spot trends. We encourage everyone to contact our office if you believe you've been scammed or treated unfairly in a consumer transaction. All right, so let's talk about our crime victims compensation program. All right, as you can see, our crime victims compensation program, well, it provides financial reimbursement to victims of violent crime who meet eligibility requirements, okay? The Attorney General's office has the authority for the program by law. Our crime victims compensation program. So now, who's a victim? Any person killed or injured in Illinois, a parent, spouse, or child of a person killed or injured in Illinois, persons killed or injured in Illinois while assisting law enforcement, persons called as a witness by the prosecution to establish a nexus, an Illinois resident injured in a country without a compensation program, and any person under the age of 18 who is a brother, sister, half-brother, half-sister of a person killed or injured in Illinois. Now that's for counseling purposes only though. All right, and the eligible expenses for compensation are, as you can see on the screen, you've got funeral and burial up to $10,000. It may be lost wages up to $2,400. There's loss of dependent support up to $2,400. Counseling and transportation, accessibility, there's relocation, it might be a tuition loss, crime scene cleanup, replacement costs, replacement service loss. Property, however, is not covered. All right. So what crimes are eligible for compensation? As you can see the list here, it's a long list, okay? But just to list this, make note of some of them, you've got arson, you've got homicide, assault, human trafficking, battery, involuntary manslaughter. So that's just to give you an example of some of that. Domestic violence is in there. Orders of people are violating the orders of protection or stalking, hit and run of a pedestrian or a person, operating a vehicle that was moved solely by human power or using a mobility device. So just to give you an idea of some of the crimes that are eligible for compensation. Okay, and just want to talk about some of the key legislative updates. First of all, the application window that has been extended to 5 years from the date of the crime or 1 year from the criminal charge for the offense. That's adults without disabilities. Before it used to be 2 years, so it's been extended to 5 years. 3 years from the removal of a disability And again, that's an adult with disabilities, and 3 years from turning 18, which is for minors. And the maximum award, now that's going to increase on August 7th of this year. And that'll increase to $45,000 per victim. That's the maximum somebody can collect. Before that, or as it is right now, until we get to August 7th, the maximum is $27,000. So he is expanding this program to try to see that we can make sure that we cover more people, expand and be able to help more people. All right, so the way you apply for it, you can really just go online. Of course, everything is online. But if that's not possible for you, all you have to do is call us. You'll see on the screen there, we have our crime victims assistance number, and you can just simply give us a call, okay? And as we say, when in doubt, if you're not sure, go ahead and apply, okay? All right, so we'll go on to the next thing. And okay, so we've got home repair scams. And let me get my screen up here, okay. All right, so now, if you own a home, then you probably needed repairs, performing upgrades on your home in the form of a new roof, new kitchen, or addition that can increase its value. But home improvements can also be needlessly expensive and frustrating if you pay for work that is not performed, work that does not meet the building codes in your town, or work that is of poor quality. For these reasons, it's important to take extra care when you hire someone to work on your home. There are scores of reputable contractors and repair providers who do good work. Here's how bad contractors attempt to scam homeowners. Someone knocks on your door or calls you. They say they can fix your leaky roof, install new windows, or provide the latest energy efficient solar panels. They might find you after a flood, windstorm, or other natural disaster. They will pressure you to act quickly, might ask you to pay in cash, or offer to get you financing. They make you an offer that is better than filing an insurance claim. But here's what happens next. They run off with your money and never make the repairs, or they do shoddy repairs that make things worse. Let's talk about some of the warning signs that you should watch out for. Be wary of door-to-door or telephone marketing. Look for established contractors with recommendations from people you trust. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So beware of the big discounts. You want to do business with established entities. So look out for if you can't find them online or they don't have a physical contact point, you want to shy away from them. If you don't know where they're at, that's an issue. Some scammers will also try to reel you in with free inspection and then charge you for a long list of repairs. Okay. All right. So now, not every contractor is problematic, of course. However, the Illinois Attorney General's office tracks home repair scams and has seen it rise to the top of the claims file. Now, here's some things to think about to avoid being scammed. Look for established contractors with recommendations from people you trust. Ask to see their licenses and insurance. And you may want to check with the Better Business Bureau or our office, the Attorney General's office, for complaint reports. Ask for estimates in writing and never sign a contract with blanks, or if you don't understand the points. If you feel like it's a scam, alert local law enforcement, as many fraudsters work in a neighborhood and individual municipalities have different rules about solicitation. Okay, and one of the most important things you can do to avoid home repair scams is get it in writing. Before you let someone do work on your house, get a written contract. Don't just take their word for it. Make sure both you and the contractor sign the contract. And if you have questions about the contract, ask them before you sign. Make sure you understand what you're signing, and never let them start work until you have a signed contract. If something goes south, and you don't have a contract, then it's just your word against theirs. A written contract gives you a lot more protection. Remember, you have 3 business days to cancel any contract if the sale is made and signed in your home. So if they come to your home, you've got 3 days to void that contract. You can cancel it. The contractor cannot take this right away from you by initiating work, selling your contract to a lender, or any other tactic, okay? And you can certainly see, we've got a fact sheet, a 3-day right to cancel home repair contracts that's on our website, so you can certainly take a look at that. Now, there are 3 basic elements that should be covered in any contract that you consider signing. We've got a handout, it's called our Home Repair Consumer Know Your Rights, and it covers these in detail. Illinois law requires that those selling home repair and improvement services provide their customers with notice of any change to their business name or address that comes about prior to the agreed dates for beginning or completing the work. You will want to describe the work, the time frame, and the cost, and there should be an explanation of payment, including down payment and schedule of payment. So those are the 3 areas that you want to be sure is in that contract. Now, these details are covered in the Attorney General's Guide, Home Repair, which you see on your screen there. We can go to the next screen, Kirsten. There you go. It's one of our brochures, and of course that is online. They actually should be, when they come to your home, they should be giving you this brochure. This brochure is set up to protect yourself as you plan for home repair improvement projects. Contractors by law are required to go over this with you for work that's is going to run $1,000 or more. So they should have this document with them. It contains the consumer rights acknowledgement form, which that's shown on the form. The contractor and the client should sign this to acknowledge that the contractor provided the guide to you. It lists the elements that should be in every contract and talks about the contract consolation matters. It also covers protections when subcontractors and insurers are involved. All right, and now we'll go to our next one, which I think, yeah, common scams and how to avoid them. All right, so now this brochure is an overview of the common types of scams that anyone can get caught in. Seniors are often a target because scammers select them because they can be less tech savvy or more vulnerable. There are home repair scams where experts don't finish the job or deal fairly. There are telephone and online marketing scams that present one set of circumstances that don't prove to be true. Now, we'll look at, more closely at imposter scams where the person is not who they say they are, but they try to fool you into you giving them money. Even when you want to do good, it's possible to get burned by an organization that does harm instead of helping. We will also touch on the healthcare scams that prey on our personal conditions, often when individuals are in no condition to pay close attention. All right, so our homes are often our most valuable asset. That can make one an easy target for home repair scams. It can often start with a knock on the door or an offer for discounted repairs, especially after a natural disaster like a flood or a storm. The Illinois Attorney General's office tracks home repair scams and has seen it rise to the top of the claims that are filed with our office. So again, we want you to be wary of door-to-door telephone marketing. We want you to look for established contractors with recommendations from people that you trust, okay? And again, we talked about the brochure that we've got, okay? And the tips that are required by law that they should have for you, okay? We also investigate these claims to determine if our office can prosecute or sue. All right, so now, and we can go to our next screen, Kirsten. Imposter scams. Maybe what happened to me is something that you can relate to. And even if you can't, there's likely another imposter scam that has happened to you or someone you know. So I had a situation where somebody called me up. They called on the phone and they were selling a travel program, you know, travel club. Okay. And so they said all the things you can do, blah, 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 and all this. And I'm listening. And, you know, my wife is in the background actually saying, just hang up the phone. But hey, you know what? I do this for a living. So I'm listening. We want to travel and all this other kind of stuff. So I want to see if it's a good deal. So they said, okay, well, look, we'll send you the packet. We just need $1.59 for postage. I said, okay, no problem. Now, I did give them my card information, okay? And you've got 30 days to cancel this. Okay, fine. So I do that. So I took notes when they called, 30 days, you know, when the 30 days is up, so on and so forth. So I'm patiently waiting for this material to come in the mail. Well, first of all, it doesn't come for 2 weeks, okay? So almost half of my 30 days is up before I even got the packet, but I'm still keeping track, no problem. All right, so now I go through the stuff, I read it, turns out it's not a good deal. They're not really doing anything. All right, so I called them in plenty of time. I think it must have been maybe 3 days before the 30 days was up, and called them to cancel. And they give me a cancellation number or something like that. Okay, I think that's fine. Oh, maybe the next month or so, there's a debit from my account for $159, which had I joined, that's what the monthly fee was going to be. Okay. So I'm like, what is this under? First of all, when I saw it, I didn't even know what it was. I had to call and find out. Okay. So I called my bank. They said, well, it's this travel club, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I called, and because the information the bank gave me was a totally different entity that I talked to. So I called the people that called me initially and said, hey, what's going on? You know, this company is taking us. Oh, well, that's our other company. I said, well, you didn't mention anything about this other company. I canceled with you. Oh, so I'd like you to give my money back. Okay, well, you'll have to write a letter, sir. Okay, so anyway, I did write the letter. Okay, and in the letter, I told them that I have attorneys. I also will be filing a complaint with the Attorney General's office, so on and so forth. Hopefully this will be the last letter and you'll return my money. I was lucky. They gave me my money back. I got my money back, okay? But the point of the matter is this. First of all, one, I should have just simply listened to my wife and hung up the phone, okay? But that's how they do. It's a bait and switch. So I talked to one company, they gave me their name and who they were, but it was a totally separate, different company, all under the same entity. They're connected, but they're the ones that took the money out, all this other kind of stuff. So you just have to be very, very careful. And I say I was very, very lucky, okay? Because you really have to be careful about giving your card information over the phone, that type of stuff. All right, so you can get a call from someone and it's an automatic recording, you know, whatever, or you may be contacted by a phony debt collector or credit card company. These scams can play on our emotions after the death of someone close to you. Scammers may call to say the deceased owes money and that you're responsible for paying. So you could also get the grandparent scam where they say your grandchild needs money immediately, and that you know, it'll be one of three different scenarios. Your grandchild may be arrested and needs money for bail, or an attorney, or he's stranded somewhere and needs money to get back, or he's been hurt and he needs money for an emergency room or doctor's fees. And of course, the one thing they're going to tell you on that is, don't tell my parents, because when they call, they're going to identify themselves as your grandpa, or you may help identify, because if you call and they say grandma or granddad and you answer, you say, yeah, Timmy. And they go, yeah. So at that point during the conversation, you believe you're talking to Timmy. So we want you to verify, okay? And we are even seeing a rise in the sweetheart scams, where someone starts up an online romance and then takes financial advantage of someone who thinks they're in a truthful relationship. We can stop the scams with these tips. Just hang up or let it go to voicemail, okay? Never agree to buy gift cards or wire money. Check the story out by calling the person or company at a phone number that you know is real. And lastly, report these fraud attempts to your local law enforcement and the Attorney General. All right, so telephone online scams. They can use many of the same imposter scam techniques. In many cases, the goal is identity theft along with a financial loss. Now, you may have encountered calls or emails offering computer tech support. They're actually trying to get remote access to your computer to search for information that will allow access to your financial records. Similarly, you might receive an email that appears to be from a bank or credit card company with a link to update your account information. This is another way to fool you in giving up your login information. Remember, anything that sounds too good to be true probably is. It's not free if you have to pay for a price or a trial or shipping. You can try to stop the calls by registering your phone number with the Do Not Call registry. Now, this won't stop every nuisance call. However, it can severely reduce the number. Again, just hang up or report it and ignore those phone calls. All right. So not every organization that claims to do good is worthy of a donation. Some organizations will use deceptive techniques and high pressure tactics to convince you to provide your financial information or cash to make a donation. In early March, the Attorney General announced a settlement against the operation that bombarded individuals across the country with 1.3 billion deceptive fundraising costs, collecting more than $100 million that did not go to the charitable programs that the donors believed they were supporting. All right. All charitable organizations that solicit or hold donations in Illinois are required to register with Attorney General Kwame Raoul's office. Members of the public can check the online charitable database at charitablebureau.ilattorneygeneral.net. Okay, and I think that's going to be up on your screen there. All right. You can also search if a charity or private foundation is registered and compliant with the reporting requirements. The database provides financial information such as assets, income, and annual financial reports. We recommend that you do your research. Give to organizations that you are confident in and don't hesitate to say no thanks if a solicitation does not feel right. You do not have to be pressured into giving anybody any money. All right, next one. Healthcare scams. Now, our health is important and fragile. As such, we can fall prey to healthcare scams that provide cure-all remedies or promote a scientific breakthrough. Scammers may often offer free medical products or devices, or they'll tell a consumer that upfront payment is required for a product that they don't subsequently provide. Or similarly, they'll send a product with the promise that they will work with the patient's insurance for payment, but that product is not covered and the patient is now on the hook for the payment. The most important thing to remember about the Healthcare Bureau is that there are advocates who are trained in medical records and billing terminology available to help mediate when you believe you are a victim of healthcare fraud. The assistance begins with a simple phone call, and you see the number up there, 877-305-5145. All right, and we talked about the sweetheart scams, and again, I just want to stress that be careful if you meet somebody online and not long after you meet them, they start asking you for money or loans. You need to be very, very wary about that situation and probably ought to back away from it, because that's not usually how relationships work. And you haven't met this person in person. So, so we want you to be very careful about that. All right, so identity theft. Report it and restore it. Okay, so now during this presentation, we'll cover the following topics to help you understand identity theft. First of all, understanding what identity theft is, the types of identity theft, guarding against identity theft, steps you can take to protect your identity, okay, and then contacting the Attorney General's office for help. So the first one, how much of what you do leaves you open and vulnerable to identity theft? Maybe you call your bank or your local commuter, or you provide them with your social security number for security purposes. When you're finally home in the evening, perhaps sorting through the pile of mail, you throw out some junk mail and some bills you have paid. You would not leave your doors and windows to your home wide open, allowing anyone to just come in and take what they want. Instead, we take preventive measures to protect our belongings. We lock our doors and windows, we install alarm systems, and we stay alert. Well, our personal information should be treated with the same care and precautions. Tools such as fraud alerts, security freezes, and opt-outs are available to help you lock up your personal information. So, why did it happen to me? Well, they get your information from businesses or other institutions. By one, they can steal the records or information while they're on the job, bribing an employee who has access to these records, hacking these records, or conning information out of employees. They may steal your mail, including bank and credit card offers, letters, new checks, and tax information. They may rummage through your trash, the trash of businesses or public dumps, in a practice known as dumpster diving. So, what population is targeted the most for identity theft? Well, the answer may actually surprise you. Millennials probably don't worry too much about identity theft or fraud, but according to a study from the Federal Trade Commission, 20 to 29-year-olds actually report the most identity theft of any age bracket. Now, let me be clear, okay? While young people are the most vulnerable to these types of fraud, with Javelin identifying that college students are the most prone to identity theft, although they may not even realize it's happening to them, identity theft can happen to any age demographic, including children and including seniors. So please, just because you're not in the biggest category, a lot of seniors are victims. So we want you to be very, very careful when it comes to this identity theft. All right, so what are the warning signs? We want you to keep watching the warning signs of identity theft so that you can prevent yourself from becoming a victim or being further victimized. So one of them is failing to receive bills or other mail. Follow up with creditors if your bills do not arrive on time. A missing bill could mean an identity theft has taken over your account and changed your billing address to cover his or her tracks. All right. Receiving credit cards for which you did not apply, or being denied credit or being offered less favorable terms like high interest for no apparent reason, or also getting calls or letters from debt collectors or businesses about merchandise or services that you didn't buy. Now, there are 3 types of identity theft. According to the Federal Trade Commission, the top 3 types of identity theft reported are credit card fraud, employment or tax-related fraud, phone or utilities fraud. All right, so now, how does a credit freeze work? Okay, that's okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. This is some helpful hints and safeguards. Of course, don't give out your social security number, okay? Carry only the amount of ID and credit cards that you need if you're going out to do some shopping or anything like that. Don't carry all your stuff. Don't give your personal information over the phone unless you initiated the call. Don't transmit personal information over the internet unless it's a secure site, and don't reveal personal information or in emails or discussion forums. In other words, you want to protect that stuff, okay? We can go to the next one. Okay, place passwords on your credit card, bank, phone account, secure your information in your home, okay? If you've got roommates or anything like that, and before you share any personal information, confirm it is a legitimate organization. Go to the next one. All right, steps that you can take to prevent your identity. All right, so you can place a credit freeze How's a credit freeze work? Well, it restricts access to your credit report to help prevent identity theft. Usually you will need a PIN or password to lift or place the freeze. It can be placed on or taken off as often as you like, but you will have to notify the credit bureaus in order for it to be lifted. If you contact the credit bureaus over the phone, they have 1 hour to comply. That's if you're trying to ask them to lift the freeze that you put on there. Or if you contact the credit bureaus through the direct mail, you send them something, they have 3 business days to respond, okay? All right, next one. And I just went over that, so we'll skip, there we go. All right, so how does a fraud alert work? Well, it makes lenders verify your identity before granting new credit in your name. Now, and usually they will call you to verify your identity. It's a free service. You don't have to pay for that. The security freeze, by the way, is free also. It's available. This fraud alert is available to anyone who is or suspects they may have been affected by identity theft. It lasts 1 year. And to place a fraud alert on, you contact one of the 3 credit bureaus, and then that bureau must contact the other 2. You know, there are 3 major credit bureaus. So you contact one, and they'll contact the other 2. All right. In 2006, sorry, let me. Okay, sorry about that. In 2006, the Attorney General's office created the first of its kind and introduced our identity theft hotline. Now, the goal is to help Illinois residents prevent, spot, and recover identity theft. Now, you can call the toll-free number, which is on your screen there, or access the free materials on the Illinois Attorney General's website. And of course, that website is, as you see, www.illinoisattorneygeneral.gov. Now, the hotline is staffed by specially trained identity theft consumer advocates who can help you take the steps to protect your identity, whether you have received a data breach notice or learned that a thief has opened up an account in your name, or just wanted to be a cautious consumer and take proactive steps to lock down your credit. All right, and so now let's move into what you can expect when you contact the Attorney General's office. All right, so now this chart describes the typical process. You first contact our office. Next, we'll review your situation. Then, if possible, we'll work toward a resolution. We can take a closer look at what happens at each step. So the Office of the Attorney General provides several means for the public to file a complaint during normal times. Now, the office at the Thompson Center in downtown Chicago and the Springfield office is set up with staff who can take complaints. And we can go to the next screen, Kirsten. There we go. All right, so the office in the Thompson Center as well as Springfield, they're set up with staff who can take complaints and answer questions. We also have regional offices throughout the state. Now, we have several telephone hotlines to report specific types of fraud or other inquiries. Still, the most convenient method is you may just want to fill out a complaint online at our website. Now, if you require translation to complete the form, we can connect you with a person who can respond in your language. All claims and complaints will be reviewed to see if we are able to help or can refer to another agency. It can be moved forward to our office, then it gets assigned a number to open a case and is given to an advocate. This part of the process usually happens relatively quickly. There are advocates that handle home repair or auto-related complaints, for example. After collecting the necessary information and documentation, a complaint can be assigned to a mediator. Now, the mediator will look into the details and contact the business or organization. He or she will attempt to bring about a fair resolution. Not every case can be resolved, and the process can involve several weeks or months of communicating with the business and reporting back to the consumer. Even when a case cannot be resolved, it is important to make complaints so that our attorneys in the office can spot patterns of trends of fraud or uncover potential cases for more legal action. every complaint that gets reported could potentially help someone avoid getting scammed. All right, so okay, so the steps to resolving complaint. For workplace rights and civil rights complaints, our attorneys are also collecting, tracking, and following up on those reports. They then work with individuals and coordinate with other agencies or law enforcement as required. You may experience some delays in response time. Well, that actually we used to, but we're not having any delays now. That was back when we were in the COVID, and we're fine. We're up to speed now. We do value all the reports that we receive and are making efforts so that we can respond to them in a timely manner. So like I said, we are up to speed on that. There was a big surge during the COVID situation, but we're out of that now. So we're back on point. All right, and you see on the screen, that's our key contacts there. These are some helplines for some of our most frequently used services. We also have a resource directory that lists these and many others, and you get that resource directory again off our website. Okay, so now if we can do this presentation for a community group that you may be involved with or are interested in the presentation on another topic, please, you can send an email to outreach at ilattorneygeneral.gov, and that's the one at the bottom right there. Okay, that is it for our presentation, and thank you very much. We'll open it up for questions if there are any. Okay.
Yes, we do have a question from
Okay.
Elaine.
Okay.
She asks, is the do not call registry phone number for both landlines and for cell phones?
Yes, yes. And let me just talk briefly about the do not call list, because everybody thinks, first of all, it doesn't work. It does work. We do encourage you to register both your phones. It's a free national registry. Register both your home and your landline. But let me explain this. The do not call list was set up so that you could receive, to prevent you from receiving telephone marketing phone calls, okay? There were still 5 types of phone calls that you could receive even if you're on the do not call list. Charitable organizations can call you, but you can tell them, hey, take me off your list. You didn't make it this year. People taking surveys can call. You can tell them, hey, take me off your list. I'm not answering any questions. Companies that you've done business with before in the past can call you, but you can say, hey, I got window treatments from you. I'm pleased as punch, but I don't need any flooring. But if I do, I know where you're at. I'll contact you, take me off your list. Your creditors, your real creditors can call you. You owe them money. They're allowed to call you. They can't harass you. But if you set up a payment plan and you're following the terms of the payment plan, that should stop all phone calls from the creditor or collection agency. And the last one is the elected officials. They created the law, so they exempted themselves. And of course, we are in the election season, so if you're getting these phone calls, there's not a doggone thing we can do about that. You can either listen or hang up, your choice. But those are the 5 exceptions. There is one other that I didn't mention, and that is the scammers. They could care less that you're on some type of do not call list. They can't scam you unless they talk to you, so they're gonna call you, okay? But we do recommend that you do that because you will see a marked decrease in the amount of phone calls that you get. So it won't stop them all, but it should lessen. So yes.
Is there anything to do if you're getting text messages like scam links and stuff like that? Is there anything for that?
I'm not aware of anything at this point. Technology, like they've got the stuff, the apps for your phone for sort of preventing the scam calls. Because I've got one on my phones and it'll say potential scam when the phone is ringing. So I know not to answer it. But I haven't seen anything yet. I'm not aware of anything yet that does the same thing for texts. They're pretty kind of easy to spot. I get one all the time. I don't know where they're coming from. Hey, you know, we've got this great thing. You want to lose 5 to 10 pounds, blah, 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 all this other kind of stuff. I just delete it routinely. I don't bother to open them. I don't know who you are. I didn't solicit you. I don't want to know who you are. So just delete them. Don't bother to open them up, and definitely don't click on any links. Just delete them.
And there's an option to block those text messages. Typically, they do use different numbers, so
Okay.
but that's another option.
Well, I have to look into that. Maybe that'll stop that one without getting it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll look into that.
Yeah.
All right.
I had another question too. Like,
Okay.
if somebody's a victim of a crime, is it better that they go to their local police or to call the crime victims line?
Oh no, absolutely. You start with the police. That they're the first responders. So you definitely call 911, let the police handle it, do whatever you need to do. And then if it's something that should probably come to us, because we're only talking about if they've been a victim of a violent crime. So there's a whole bunch of other things that don't fall into that category, even though there was a lot under that violent crime situation that were eligible. But, you know, somebody breaks into your car or whatever, no, those don't come to us. Those don't come to us. So, but yeah, you always start with 911 first, call the police, let them deal with that. And then oftentimes the police will let you know if whatever your situation is, if it's something that you should be contacting us. So depends on who you talk to in the police department, but they're familiar with our crime victims assistance program. And oftentimes they will refer that victim to our office. So yes, but start with 911 for sure, always.
Okay. Sandra put a tip in the chat. She says through AT&T, text scam messages can be forwarded to 7726. That's kind of a way of reporting that text.
Okay.
So
what was that? Forwarded to 7726?
Yep, that's through AT&T. So I don't know if it works with other phone
Gotcha.
companies.
Okay. Cool. Great. Thank you.
Does anyone else have questions for Skip? And just a reminder, this is recorded, so this will be on the Otherworks Facebook page and the YouTube page. If you ever need to come back and look up some phone numbers or websites, there's a lot of great information here, so you can always come back to this video to check that out.
Okay. Well, great. Let me just say on behalf of the Attorney General, thank you so much. We really, really do appreciate you all taking the time to tune in. You certainly could be someplace else. We appreciate that. Thank you for giving us the opportunity, Emily and ElderWorks for giving us the opportunity to reach out and get this information out to our seniors. We're really always concerned about them and want to do our best to make sure that they're protected. So we really appreciate that opportunity. Again, let me just say this. I always leave people with this. There is no such thing as a silly question. That means if something comes across your desk, you're not sure or whatever, you call us. We got all these numbers up here, use them, but you call us. That's what we're here for. And I always tell people, it's a lot easier for us to help you keep your money than it is for us to help you recover your money. So before you send it, if you're not sure, it smells funny or whatever, you just got that funny feeling, your instincts are right. But if you want to verify, you call us and we'll say, no, ma'am, you're absolutely right. It is a scam. Don't send them your money. Don't give them any information and don't talk to them anymore. So call us. That's what we're here for. These are your tax dollars at work. And it's not a bother. It's not a bother because it's a lot easier for us to handle it before you become a victim than after you're a victim. So by all means, give us a call.
Okay, thank you, Skip. That was great.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you, Emily. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep. Have a good day, everyone.
All right, everybody. Take care. Enjoy your weekend. Yes.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Okay. All right. Okay, folks. Bye-bye.
Bye.